Danny Segura for MMA Junkie. Today I am speaking to Belal Muhammad, who will be fighting Lyman Good on June 20th here at the top of the month. He's got a big fight coming up. Also, a lot just going on in his life as well, so wanted to catch up with him and talk about that. Belal, first of all, how are you doing? And how's life treating you so far?
Good, man. Just finally happy to get close to the fight week. Finally being able to get back in there, get back to normal, get back to work. Just happy to be actually cutting weight and be actually ready to see this fight week go.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you've been getting ready for this fight for quite some time, so it's been a long road for you. So definitely want to talk to you about that. But I know you have some other things going on as well in your life that I want to talk to you about. You recently posted to Twitter that your dad's store was basically looted in Chicago, and it looked pretty bad as far as the looting is concerned. Um, can you explain to us what went down, and I guess what's the situation with the store right now?
Yeah, last week it was just one of those crazy weeks where we're living in crazy times right now. A lot of places in Chicago got looted. Unfortunately, my dad's store was one of them. Uh, basically went in there, trashed everything, and stole everything. So
Yeah.
it was one nothing we really didn't expect because we were hearing it and then we were seeing other places get looted. So and we're closer to uh, downtown Riverside, so we knew something was going to happen down there. So thankfully, he was closed, so he wasn't in there when they looted it. So nobody got hurt. Just stuff got stolen.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I mean, it seemed you guys, as you said, you guys were kind of getting ready for it. Like you guys had the store, I guess, like closed and I guess put on some preventive measures for the looting.
Not really put on preventive messengers, just basically for him to stay home. We've out, man. I had so many family members and cousins that were in Chicago that got like their stores looted.
Yeah.
And man, crazy stuff. Me and my Lewis Taylor, actually, we were like one of my other cousins. His store was looted as he was in there. People were
Wow.
trying to break into a store while he was in there, and he had like his shutters down, and he was sitting there, and we called him, and he said, "All right, what's going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm stuck inside the store. If you guys can come help me," and they're on the outside of my store looting it.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were like, "What?" And so then I picked up Lewis Taylor. We drove down there to see what was going on, and then the store next to him was like a liquor store, and that store was getting broken into, and then people were like running outside of the windows with cases of liquor and stuff like that. And his store had his gates down, and they were still on outside of his gates trying to bang his gates in there. And then we ended up like waiting it out for people to stop actually being outside of the store because he was inside with a gun, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do," and he started like shooting up high in the air for people to back up out of there or scare them off. But people were just nuts, and then even the gunshots weren't even scaring them. But then eventually they all started running out, and then we finally got into the store, and he sat there because he had a big store, half like clothing, half cell phones. And then me and Lewis Taylor in there. And then he called like five other guys, and then five of those other guys ended up coming, and they all had like AK-47s and machine guns. They were like, "All right, what are you guys doing now?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna we're waiting for a U-Haul truck to come, so I can put all my stuff in the U-Haul truck, and then we're gonna leave that way." And then me and Lewis there with freaking just our hands, and all the guys have guns. So like, "All right, you guys look like you're good. We're gonna leave it now." So we ended up leaving out, and thankfully he was able to get all the stuff out of his store. And then, but later that day, still they eventually got into the store and just broke everything down, even though there was even nothing in the store. So it was just people were just being ignorant. It was just those people that are just looking for something to do, to create terror and dumb stuff like that. Not even for the movement, just to create havoc. So obviously, from that point on, like you saw what people were doing downtown and stuff like that. People were taking advantage of the situation. So you never know what to expect in this world. And the thankful thing is that nobody got hurt. None of my family members got hurt, and we're all still healthy and able to just keep moving on from there.
Yeah, well, that's good news. Obviously, health comes first. And I guess what's it like for you? I mean, as a person of color, what's it like for you to sort of be, I guess, during these times and during these crazy situation, and not only that, but like seeing and experiencing the looting firsthand.
I mean, it was one of those where like you understand there's a problem, you understand there's an issue. Like there's obviously a big problem in the United States and all around the world, honestly. And then we're experiencing it every day ourselves too, being a Muslim with the last name Muhammad, and knowing that you feel see the same things happen to you and your family. My dad used to work for the city, and he got fired from a city job after 9/11 because the last name is Muhammad. So the biggest thing was for me was for him to work for the city, literally probably like 3 years away from retiring, and then he gets fired because of that, and he didn't get his retirement or his pension fund, and so he had to go build something on his own. So that's what he did, because he was like, I'm not gonna work for anybody else, so I'm not gonna let anybody be in charge of me anymore. I'm gonna build my own thing up. I'm not gonna have somebody control how I get my money. So he built that store up, and that was the biggest thing, is that store was in my family for so long, and he built it up from scratch. And his literally biggest issue was, oh, let's go board it up so no little kids run in there and get hurt, or oh man, what's gonna happen with the older people in the neighborhood where they have to go buy minutes or buy something for themselves or buy a charger? They're gonna have to walk an extra 3 miles or 4 miles, because he did it more for like the neighborhood and the people around him, and that's what he cared more about. Because it wasn't even the people in the neighborhood that were actually doing the looting; it was people literally driving in or driving around, looking around, seeing spots that should be looted. And those are the people that are freaking the scumbags of the earth. That probably didn't even know George Floyd's name. They just did it just to do it, and then just take advantage of situations because they knew the cops weren't going to do anything at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another funny thing too. We literally called the cops at me and Lewis Taylor as we're outside of my cousin's store, and we're like, I trained with a couple of guys that are cops, and I told them about the situation, and they're like, "Oh man, well, we're not allowed to go in those areas right now because we're getting attacked more than anybody else. So like anytime we pull up, we're getting attacked." So he's like, try calling 911 from that area and see what happens. So we literally called 911. It was like 10-minute hold, and they're like, all right, nothing's really gonna happen. But then you saw guys literally taking stuff into their own hands, where guys were literally walking around with machine guns and stuff, and they're standing outside in front of their store protecting their own with machine guns. And I saw a video where a lady like drove by a store, and there was guys outside in front of the store with machine guns and AKs, and they're standing on top of the roof and in front of the store. And she's like, "Oh, they're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill black people." And I'm like, they're protecting their store. If you're trying to loot their store, obviously people are going to protect themselves and they're going to protect their property. So some people are just crazy with the whole thing, and some people didn't understand what was going on and what people are willing to do for their own things and for their lifestyle. Like a lot of these stores, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, you got insurance and this and that." No, we don't. A lot of these stores aren't covered by insurance because of the neighborhoods we're in. And unfortunately, my dad's store was in a abandoned building. It ended up getting abandoned probably like a year ago or 2 years ago. So then the insurance cut them off of that because they said it was too much of a risk. Mm-hmm. So people think that it's going to be easy. Oh, insurance is going to cover this and this, but it's not that easy. It's not that simple. And we lost a lot with that, but thankfully we have each other, and we're going to build ourselves up again. And there ain't nothing really going to stop us.
Yeah, for sure. Also, just before we keep going, can you move the camera a little bit to the right so we get your full face? There we go. Awesome. Yeah, so I guess like what's the plan here with your family and your dad? Like what goes next after this situation? Like since you said it, you guys didn't have insurance. What's the path back to, I guess, building back the store, or are you guys even going to do that?
I mean, there's a lot of damage to the store, so right now we're probably looking at other opportunities. We've been wanting to get my dad retired anyway for a while now. He was just one of those old school guys that always wanted to keep working. So, I mean, I think it just like opened up doors for us to look at other things, other opportunities. I think there's too much damage for the store to be opened up, mm-hmm. and it's just unsafe at this moment to do something like that, and especially with COVID that would just happen. We were coming off COVID, so it was already slow at the time. And then when stuff's allowed to be open, especially that week where small businesses were, all right, small businesses can open now, then all of a sudden all the looting happens. So it was literally just like worst timing for something like that to happen. So, I mean, we're looking at other avenues, and hopefully we catch this bonus June 20th, and we'll be good after that.
Certainly, yeah. And I mean, that fight definitely promises some action. We'll talk about that in a minute. I also saw that you retweeted exclusive 773. Is it? Yeah. For those that don't remember the Vine days, I became a fan of that store. I've never been there, but became a fan of it through Lincoln Two Step. And that's a store that's always like helped out the community. I know like year after year they would do that turkey drive and all that. What's your relationship with those guys, and what kind of happened then?
That owner of the store is my cousin. That's my cousin. I used to work at a store for a while, and like you said, like they do literally every year a toy drive. There's a turkey drive. Like they do so much for the community, so much for the people out there. It was crazy. Even like the people out there were really going nuts about what happened. Because like I said, it ain't the people from the neighborhood. It was literally people just trying to take advantage of the situation, driving in, look for spots just to break and just to hate on other people. Uh, Luckily they were able to get some of their stuff out, but same way their store got smashed up and broken into and stuff like that. But even still afterward, they used the GoFundMe to donate for more neighborhood cause and to help people in the neighborhood more. Still, they're still going to do a toy drive here. They're still going to do a turkey drive here. It didn't break them. They know that what they do for the community is bigger than what happened to them, and fortunately, they get enough income where they can still help out a lot of people, and they'll be able to recover from this. And they're already opening up, and they're already working on stuff, and they already started fixing up stuff. But they had a lot of help in the community. A lot of people. They just had a press conference last week, a couple days after it, and just to say that we're still here. We still love the city. They still, even though the windows they got boarded up, they still painted murals on there. It was an amazing thing just to see how some people react to it one way and another people react to it a different way. But yeah, man, they're like a milestone for the South Side of Chicago, and they've done so much. And it was crazy that something like that happened to them, but it was cool to see all the people, how the way the people responded in the neighborhood, how they were all mad and angry that something like that happened to them.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem like great people. I've followed them on social media for quite some time. Although Pancho and Lincoln are always beefing, they seem like they got they're good people and they do well for the community.
Yeah, I
Um,
tell them all the time, you guys need to get like a reality show going in there, get somebody in there, the cameraman. It'll be crazy the stuff that you see in there on a normal day. It's nuts.
yeah. Are you cool with Lincoln? Like I feel like he's a little bit of a celebrity, right?
Yeah, no, honestly, dude, it's funny because he'll sit there and like literally clothing because it's like a half clothing store too. So they have a company send them clothes and stuff just for Lincoln to come. Clubs will hit them up. Hey, could you bring Lincoln with you to the store? And then people will like fly in from like London and stuff to like, oh, can we meet Lincoln two step? It'd be hilarious. And yeah, it's just a hilarious whole situation how it just like built up from nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, their social media is great, and yeah, they could totally do a reality TV show. In fact, I saw you before you were even in the UFC. I think on like a Vine with Lincoln, like when you were a Titan champion, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when you were in the UFC, I'm like, oh, I've seen that guy before. But yeah, shouts out to Exclusive 773. And I guess like how's it like being in this training camp? I mean, this has to be like sort of I guess the wildest training camp of your life, right? You had an opponent that had COVID. That fight got postponed because of that. And then everything that's going on around your father's store and just in the world in general, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a normal training camp. It's just, it's been nuts. Uh, Especially literally going to that last fight where you're wondering if it's going to happen, if it's not going to happen. So much stuff went into that last one where Lyman pulled out like the week before, and then they were like, "Oh, we're going to get you a new opponent," and you're like, "All right, am I getting a new opponent?" And then you're like, "Man, I wonder if the fight's even going to happen because the whole card." And then once Khabib got off the card, I'm like, "Dang, it's not going to happen." Then they picked up Justin, and I was like, "All right, Justin and Tony's a great fight, so the card is definitely going to happen now." And then all of a sudden, you're still waiting on a contract. Every day you're getting a call like, "Hey, are you still fighting? Are you still fighting? Are you still fighting?" And you're cutting weight. You're annoyed. You're like, "All right, shut up. Let me. If I fight, I'm gonna fight. Whatever." And then, yeah, then you find out that Lyman had COVID, and it's crazy. But I feel like it's just gonna make you stronger, make me stronger. I was able to train in my own certain way now, so I did my own thing in Chicago, training down here at Valley Flow. I also went to Dallas for a week to go down there and train with the guys at Fortis. It was cool just to get different looks and just different training methods. I feel like I'm a martial artist first, so like learning from different coaches, it stepped my game up a little bit. And I just can't wait to honestly just get back out there and just get back to work. Especially you're seeing all these guys fighting, and you're seeing how guys' lives are changing within a year. Gilbert Burns literally
Yeah.
just the momentum shift, man. All it takes is 3 or 4 fights that change the momentum, and bam, you're fighting for a title. It could happen like that quick.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
for me, I just want to go out there and make a statement, and then hopefully get a good run going.
Yeah. I mean, and it seems like now more than ever, the UFC, given the circumstances that they're in, they're kind of allowing fighters to, log in back to back fights. We've seen multiple fighters. Brian Kelleher is another one that you can mention. Charles Rosa as well, that they fight and then 2 weeks later they're fighting again, if they're healthy. Is that something you look at Burns and what he's done in your division in such a short amount of time? You look at that and you feel like, that's maybe a path that you can go down if you're able to, stay healthy?
Yeah, yeah, of course, man. God willing, if I'm healthy after this fight, I want to just hop right back in there and keep it going. With this in this sport, I feel like it's more so the more active you are, the better you are, the better you fight, and like a lot of guys where it could go one way or another way. Where if they go back to back, sometimes they'll lose the second one or they'll cut too much weight and it'll hurt them. For me, I don't cut a lot of weight anyway, so I'm usually light and around weight. So if I could just stay around there and be ready to pop in at any moment with all these injuries happening, last second injury, weekly injuries, a big fight could come my way.
Yeah, for sure. And do you feel like almost a win over Lyman? I mean, I believe you'd be like what, like 7-1 in your past 8 fights if you get past them. Do you think at this point, like it must unlock sort of the bigger names and the top of the division?
Yeah, yeah. You always want to fight a ranked guy, get your name up there. Uh, but I feel like Lyman got a good run going. People are excited about his last couple fights. And then no ranked guy wants to fight. Everybody using that excuse, I don't want to fight below me or I want to wait. But like you said, now with the times we're in, it's just guys that are willing to fight. Dana White's looking for guys that are trying to fight. He's not waiting for these guys that are waiting. You can't wait anymore.
Yeah.
You got to be You got to be willing to say yes. That's why you see Masvidal and all these guys losing their shot at the title because they're screwing themselves over. They don't want to get paid, so now they're sitting on the sidelines. Gilbert Burns, the guy that's always saying yes, ready to go, and that's why he's gotten 3 or 4 fights within a year. So yeah, I just want to be that guy that I don't care who they put in front of me. I'm willing to say yes to anybody.
Yeah, for sure. And is that almost nice? Like I know the fighter space is a whole different topic, and it's one that could be quite lengthy as well. But on the other side, it almost seems like given the current climate, sort of the politics are not playing that much a factor. It's who's ready to fight and who's willing to fight. Is that almost nice because you can kind of take control of your career a little bit more?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I don't have to sit there and wait for these guys to say no, and then all of a sudden they get somebody else to fight. So like now, if you're a ranked guy, you have to be willing to say yes now, or you're just going to be sitting on the sidelines for a while. And now it gives them more of that chance for people to give that excuse like, oh, I can't train right now, or I'm not getting any good training right now. But now's the time where we're the only sport on TV. So now's the time to get your name out there, get on TV, get on ESPN. That's the only sport on right now. And one breakthrough fight, and you could become a next star. And people right now are tuning in. So I want to let people watch and let people sit there and wonder who this guy is, or look me up, or something pops off of that. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And lastly, let me get a fight breakdown of that welterweight title fight between Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. I mean, one that came out of left field. I think everybody thought it was going to be Masvidal Usman, but it's Burns Usman now. So, any prediction on that fight, and how do you see it playing out?
Man, that's a crazy fight. Honestly, I feel like Burns honestly deserves it more than Masvidal and Leon Edwards. I feel like he beat the better competition. He just came off of knocking out Maya, and he just basically dominated Woodley, who was number one. And I feel like those two guys were like the toughest guys in the division. Leon Edwards beat Dos Anjos last, and Gunnar Nelson, and Masvidal beat Nate Diaz, who I don't even think should be ranked. But I feel like Gilbert Burns honestly earned this title shot, so I don't feel like it was given to him. I feel like he earned it, and I feel like it's going to be a crazy fight. People are underestimating Burns his whole career and his whole time, and he's showing that he has hands, and on the ground, he's one of the most dangerous guys out there. So I feel like it's going to be a crazy fight, especially with them knowing each other so much, because people are like, oh, it's kind of short notice, but not really that short notice because these guys train with each other so long, so they know each other. So it's basically just getting in shape now and just being in fight shape. So you already know your guy, you know everything about him. So that's gonna be the crazy thing. Like if it's gonna affect them mentally if they're like good friends or anything like that, and if they don't want to sit there and go hard punching each other or anything like that. But it seems to me like for Burns, it's all business. He knows what he's fighting for. It doesn't have to be personal with him. He doesn't have to sit there and talk trash like he did against Woodley to get a fight coming his way. Usman accepted it. It's a lot real professional thing. But I don't know. I think that it comes down to whether Usman wants to wrestle or not, because Burns is so dangerous on the ground. If he wants to keep it standing, I feel like Burns has more power than Usman. But Usman could go out-volume him and then push him to the fence, out-volume him and push him to the fence. Because Burns gasses a couple times a little bit. The last fight, he looked dominant against Woodley. He looked like he didn't gas, but he really didn't have to push the pedal down at all during that fight. Woodley wasn't really coming at him. Woodley was back into the fence and allowing Burns to set the pace. But if Usman sets the hard pace and comes out there, pushing him to the fence, taking him down, not playing on the ground with him, throwing volume at him on the feet, I feel like Usman can come out on top. But like I said, Burns has been knocking guys out. He's so hot in this last year, and momentum is the biggest thing in the sport. I feel like Burns can end up catching him, man. So like, to me, it could go either way.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting fight. I'm looking forward to that one. Also looking forward to your fight on June 20th against Lyman Good. That's going to be a really good fight, and we've been expecting it for quite some time. I appreciate the time, man. Also, best of luck not only in the fight but with sort of the family business and where you guys go next. And best of luck, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro.